What's up, Attack MMA? I'm your host, Zach Weicker, and today we have a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with a 16-5 record and will be fighting on Anthony Pettis FC 9 against Lashawn Alcocks on November 19th. Please welcome Nate Jennerman. Nate, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Nate. And before we get into the fight, I kind of like to give the fans and everyone listening a kind of introduction on your background. So how and when did you get into the sport of MMA?
So I started training when I was 16. I watched the UFC, so I really liked it. I really wanted to try it out. So found out there was a local gym, went and tried it out. My first night, I ended up being there like 3 hours. I just fell in love with the training right away. I think it was like a couple months later. I think I wanted to try. I was like, I think I'm gonna try fighting at some point. So I had a few fights while I was still in high school and stuff, and then turned pro when I was 20, and been on this journey since.
And what about that first time that you went into a gym that made you love the sport so much?
Man, there's just something about it, like I've always been really competitive, and team sports can kind of suck because you got to rely on other people. So MMA is dope, or any single individual sports really dope because it's all on you. They can be good and bad because there's no one to blame when you lose, but there's also you don't have to rely on anybody else to be great.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree with you on that. And you got the nickname Nasty. So, what is the origin story on that? On how that came about?
So there's this somebody at the gym, Rocky Magdalena. She's the one who first called me it, but yeah, just kind of I would hit like nasty submissions and like stuff that people weren't doing, and just kind of doing wild stuff. And then it was happening in fights too, and so tried it out one fight. I was like, I guess I'll give it a go. Let's try it out. And Duke immediately was like, yeah, this is your nickname. Like, this is what it is. Like, nasty's how it is. You got a nasty fight style. He's like, oh, he's like, you'll throw the kitchen sink at somebody if you need to. So, he's like, you're mean when it comes into the cage. So this is the nickname for you. So it kind of it stuck since then, and it's been fun. It's a fun one. I don't know.
I love it, man. And to go in the fight, it has been a while since you last seen you in the cage. So, how excited are you to get back in there?
Oh, dude, I'm amped up. Obviously, like you see me this summer on the Ultimate Fighter, which we had recorded back in like February, March, and before that, even like that fight obviously didn't go my way. Everybody's seen that, the whole world's seen that. But so like it really feels like I haven't been in the cage since like last June. That was like the last time I actually like fought for PFL, and so like it's been a really long time. So I'm excited to get out there, handle my biz, especially like, people who didn't know who I was before the Ultimate Fighter and only seeing that, like if that's like their only thought of who I am as a fighter, it's like, yeah, you're crazy. But so it's gonna be good to go back out there and get another big W, and then hopefully the UFC sees it and says, hey, let's pick them up for a short notice and let's go from here.
Definitely, man. And the last time you did fight, you said was the pre-recording in February, but you weren't able to get a fight while the recording or while it's being on air, since there's that aspect of we don't know who's gonna win, even though you know the results. So, was not being able to fight in that time frustrating for you?
Yeah, for sure. Because I've been staying ready to go since this show finished recording. I was right back into the gym when I got home, just ready to go. There's been guys that lost on the Ultimate Fighter that got called up to the UFC during their like time on the like while the show was still like going. So I was like, well, this is a possibility. Let's just be there and just in case. And I knew the chances weren't super high given how my fight went, unfortunately. So all I got to do is get back on my winning ways, and I think I can kind of right that ship right away. So, it was unfortunate. I still, it sucks. Felt like it was stopped early, but at the end of the day, I should have never even the punch should have never landed. I wasn't on my P's and Q's from the jump. I was timid, which I'm usually not. Like if I look back and I look through my fight career, the only fights I've ever lost are ones that I like came out timid and was like kind of worried about what he does a little bit instead of just going out and doing what I do. So this fight, I'm gonna come out, do what I do, and hopefully, hopefully be done real quick and get going.
Yeah, and in that fight with Roosevelt Roberts, obviously, like you said, it wasn't the results you wanted, it wasn't the performance you wanted people to see. So, do you think this upcoming fight's a good opportunity for you to remind the fans of what you're truly capable of?
Yeah, I mean, so like the people who matter the most already know, but yeah, for the fans and like for people who didn't know who I was beforehand, it would be nice to like go out there and show out, and then have everybody be like, oh, I guess he is good, because there's a lot of media people that like kind of drug me, or drug me. I think it's drug, yeah. They were dragging me online, and like I got called a crybaby like crazy. Even though like as the season goes on, I think almost everybody cried after they lost. I mean, it's such an emotional sport. One, two, like a lot of the guys on that were on the show have kids at home. Like, we weren't just leaving behind nothing. It's not like we're 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old kids that didn't have stuff behind. There's a few of them that didn't really have, not to say that they didn't have much, but they didn't have kids and wives at home, and people that they were leaving behind. But yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster. So glad I'm done with that.
And as you mentioned, the tough being on the Ultimate Fighter is very hard and very challenging as you're away from your family, you don't have your phone. But with all the challenging stuff, you do have a lot of opportunities to grow and be better in the sport. So, as a whole, how would you summarize your experience on the Ultimate Fighter?
So yeah, like you said, there was a lot of sacrifice there, and it did suck. And I honestly thought mentally going in, I was gonna be great. Because when I had my PFL fight and I was away from home for the week and like just able to focus on the fight, it was great. I could FaceTime my son and my wife every day. And since the PFL fight, we had our daughter. And so um not being able to talk or, FaceTime or anything for, man, that was 6 weeks or whatever while we were there. Like it was really tough. So outside of that though, I mean, there was a lot of things that I learned that I took from the Ultimate Fighter and brought home. Having Connor as a coach was amazing in its own regard. And I know people dragged back to that, say they were dragging him online for being a bad coach. And it's like, dude, he was a great coach, and he surrounded us with other great coaches and a crazy great nutritionist and a chef and like all this stuff. Like we had it made, and it just, the fights didn't work out in our favor, and everybody's like, and it's like, dude, it's not Connor's fault. And people are like, oh well, he wasn't at weigh-ins. It's like, who cares? I don't need him at weigh-ins. He ain't making weight. The same thing. Like I mean, really, I didn't get all the negative attention from it for him. And so, like I said, I took a lot of things from there back home, and worked him into my regiment. And I'm really a fan of what it did. And I was a fan of Connor. He was cool, man. Like there, his he was cool. It was an experience to that I have for the rest of my life. And the people. So like I'm still in a group chat with all of the Team McGregor guys. We got a group chat. We talk all the time. We're all rooting for each other. Last night, team Chandler, but Jason Knight fought last night. I think almost everybody watched him fight. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. That being said, that dude is tough as fuck. I mean, he is such a tough dude. So shout out to Jason Knight, one of the toughest dudes I know. It hurt to watch him lose, but tough dude, love him. And then so tonight, Roosevelt Roberts fights tonight. Obviously I'll be tuning in for that, and I hope he scores a huge knockout and you know makes me not look so bad. But yeah, and then tomorrow night, Mondo Gutierrez, team McGregor guy, he's fighting tomorrow night for, I believe, Fury Fighting Championship down in like the Texas area. I know they're in the South, so I don't know exactly where his fight is, but we follow each other. Just last weekend, Trevor Wells fought. A lot of the team McGregor guys were down for him, posting about him, sharing it, and this and that. So it was a group of guys that we all got to, hang out with and really get to know each other. Like they're a bunch of guys, even though they're at my weight, like the 55ers, like, I don't like at the end of the day, like if I got offered a fight with one of them in the UFC, I would obviously not be at to say no. But they're not fights that I'm like looking for because I grew a bond with these guys and it was cool. And the show just didn't show like how close any of us got. Like, I don't know, it's kind of it is what it is. Like me and Ro, like after the fight and stuff, like we exchanged because we each get two jerseys. We exchanged jerseys at the end. Like he's got a Team McGregor jersey from me, and I've got a Team Chandler jersey from him. Like, yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah, it definitely felt like the show didn't air a lot of things that probably went on. So, is there any like specific story or like any like funny moments that you can recall that the show did not end up airing?
I not really anything just straight up in particular. I would just say that like in general, like I just feel like they didn't show like a ton at the house, which is really unfortunate because it's like, why'd I have to live in this house with these guys if you're not even gonna show us there that much? But like it is what it is.
Yeah. And you did mention Connor before. So, is there any like specific thing that or any lesson in particular that he taught you?
Man, to grab one thing would be pretty tough, but I would say like one of the biggest things like watching him train and like practice and like just being in there is his intensity is go from the jump and his focus is go from the jump. And so that's something that like Coach Duke Rufus is like really, especially like right now, super big on. It's just like not just coming to practice to get a sweat. Like he's like, dude, everybody sweats, everybody goes to practice every day. Like he's like, show up with a purpose. He's like, you gotta have focus. He's like, you gotta have a purpose. And and this is something that I've done for a while, but like, it's always good to get a reminder. Like practice is practice. Like you don't have to win every round in the practice room. You don't have to, you can get submitted here and nobody cares because it's a practice room. This is where we're supposed to grow, get better, put yourself in bad positions to learn how to get out, how you react in certain ways. And so that was, something that Connor and them showed. And then, Duke is big on that too. So I felt like the coaching there was a similar mentality to the coaching that I have here in Wisconsin. So it was great. Like I said, it didn't go my way. So that's the only unfortunate part. But other than that, I felt like if I felt like if I could have got through Row, I could have went through anybody. But Row got me.
Definitely, man. And do you see the fight with Chandler happening for McGregor? And if so, how do you see that fight panning out?
I think it'll happen for sure. I think the UFC is pretty adamant on that being Connor's next fight, so I think it'll happen, and hopefully like pretty early next year. I think Connor's gonna knock him out. I think Chandler tries to put on a little too much of a show, doesn't use his wrestling as much as he should when he's fighting guys that bang and stuff. And I mean Connor's timing is incredible. He hits hard as hell, and I think he'll knock him out.
Yeah. I think no matter what, that's gonna be a great fight. And my final question on The Ultimate Fighter is if you ever got the call to go back on the show again, would you accept the offer? No.
No, not unless they had like a couple $1 million tournament or something. They're like, hey, the winner's gonna get a couple million. It's like, yeah, I'll go back. But yeah, no, that man, the emotional like like it was such an emotional roller coaster and this and that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going back.
I feel you, man. And to go on this fight now, originally you were supposed to be fighting Kazula Vargas, but on very short notice, that fight has turned around and switched up to Lashawn Alcocks. So, what's your whole opinions and thoughts about the whole switch in opponents?
Yeah, so I had Kazula Vargas, which was gonna be, obviously UFC vet, had a UFC win, and it could have had two if it wasn't for his DQ loss to Brock Weavers, where he was winning at first. So, he was he was a really solid opponent, and I was looking forward to it. We were really getting ready for that style and how we were gonna attack that. And so Um, yeah, but at the end of the day, like I'm not really getting ready for one specific person. I'm just trying to get better at everything I do the whole time. So having a last minute opponent change, really, it's not that huge of a deal. Nothing will get more short notice than what happened to me at PFL anyways, because I was supposed to fight Bruno Miranda there, and about 30 minutes before I went down for weigh-ins, I got an email that I had a new bout agreement. And I was like, new bout agreement. And I seen that there was a new opponent. And I was like, dude, my guy pulled out today. Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, I got a phone call. They're like, hey, we got to talk to you. We got a problem. So yeah, we switch up opponents at weigh-ins before. So I don't really care. It is what it is. This is the most important fight of my career. So I don't care whether I'm fighting Rodrigo Vargas, who's a UFC vet, or I'm fighting a little more of a journeyman. It doesn't matter. This is the most important fight of my career right now. So I have to go handle my business no matter who it's against. And so I'm taking this super serious, and we're gonna go handle business next week.
Definitely, man. And on Lashawn Alcocks, have you had time to watch tape of him at all? And if so, what are your opinions on him and what do you like about his strengths and his fighting styles?
I found one video. I forgot how long ago it was from, but yeah, he looks like he throws really hard. From like the looks on his record and stuff, like he's got more knockouts and submissions, and so he hasn't really been knocked out. Hasn't really been submitted much. I think he's gonna be. I think he's a tough dude. Um, he can crack hard, so I got to go out there and be on my p's and q's right from the jump and take the fight to him.
Yeah. And with that in mind, stylistically, how do you see his fight panning out?
I think stylistically, I think I'm better everywhere. Unfortunately for him, personally, I think I think I got a very well-rounded skill set. So I am excited to get out there and show that skill set to next weekend and just move on from there. I'm just ready to go. Like I said, we've been working on everything: ground, stand up, wrestling. I work it all the time. I'm not a fight camp fighter, so I'm working all year round, like just to get better at everything that I do.
This fight will be in Wisconsin, your hometown. So how's it like to be able to fight in Wisconsin again, as it's been a while since you last fought there?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to fight back in Wisconsin. I it's been a little over. It's been like a year and a half, and so I love fighting here in Wisconsin. It's a lot of fun. Milwaukee's basically like my second hometown. It's only like an hour from where I live and where I grew up. So I'm excited to get down here, handle business. I got a lot of people coming out. Um, so everybody get those tickets. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, get your tickets because I'm gonna put on a show. So I'm just excited.
Yeah. And this will be in Anthony Pettis' organization, who's someone that you have trained with. So what is it like for you to compete in his organization?
Yeah, I said right away, like it kind of felt inevitable that I was going to fight for Ant at some point. So it's cool to fight for Anthony just because I've known him for so long and I've trained with him for so long. So it's really cool. It's cool to see his brand picking up and like really getting a lot of people behind it. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited to fight for him, and I'm excited to just get in there. Like I said, I mean, I really didn't care who I fought for, but for Anthony right here in Milwaukee on Fight Pass, like everything just kind of it made a lot of sense. So I'm just ready. This made sense. It's time to go.
Definitely, man. And where you did train with Anthony was at Rufo Sport, and that is where you train now. So how's your experience been there? What are your relationships like with your coaches and your training partners?
Yeah, so I've been at Rufus Sports since I was 19. So I've been there for like 11 years. Obviously, like when I took a break from fighting for a little while, I wasn't down at HQ very much, but I was still running my gym up in my hometown. So I was still in the sport. I was still doing martial arts. I wasn't in a fighting mentality for a long time there, which was kind of a nice reset. But yeah, I get along great with all the coaches at Rufus Sport. My dog Chris Wright is the new grappling coach. He's a monster with the grappling and really does a great job of like mixing it and just having everything flow together. Like everything relates with his grappling to our striking to how we're striking on the ground, how we're striking on the feet, and mixing it all together. So it's really great. Yeah, obviously, Coach Duke Rufus the absolute man. So he's a legendary coach, and he's got such a plethora of knowledge to share with us. And then Coach Scott Cushman is always great. He's a monster in his own right, and helps a ton. He's been helping me with my game so much. So I'm excited. I'm excited, man. Like it's just it's go time.
Yeah. And on there and on the Pettis, Sergio Pettis got a big fight coming up against Patchy Mix. So how do you see that fight panning out?
Yeah, I'm super excited for Sergio getting to defend his belt against Patchy Mix. I think Sergio's gonna do super well. Obviously, like I mean, Serge is such a good martial artist, and then such a good fighter. Like he's just nothing bugs him. Like he just can get through whatever. He does well with adversity. Like if you go back and look at like the now I can't think of his name. The Asian guy that he fought not long ago. I
Gucci.
cannot. Oraguchi.
Or
Like the fight was not going his way at all. Like Oraguchi was doing a lot different stuff than what we had planned on. What they had planned on, obviously, like I'm not fighting, but what they had planned on for the fight, like what they were working on, and so he had to make like a lot of in-fight adjustments, and knocked him out cold with that spinning back fist. So like he does really good in-fight adjustments. I think Patchy Mix is a really good front runner. Like he's very good when he's on top and like doing what he does. We'll see how Patchy deals with the adversity when Serge puts it on him a little bit. So I got Serge all the way, and I'm excited for him. It's been good. I've gotten to get like quite a bit of work in with him for this fight, just because Patchy's long. Just working on him with submissions and like how to get around and striking and stuff. So it's been great. I'm excited for him, and I'll be tuning in on Friday night to watch him, and then I'll handle business on Sunday.
yeah, for sure, man. I was very impressed with his last performance against Pitbull, so it should be a very exciting fight. And my final question for you, as it is almost time for Thanksgiving, so what are a few things that you are thankful for?
Ooh, man, I'm really thankful for my family, like my wife, my kids. They're everything to me. Like I would not be where I am mentally or like physically or like in this emotional mindset if it wasn't for them. Like fight, it would be very hard for me to fight if I didn't have them like right by my side. To be honest, like they're amazing, huge rocks in my life. Like just really hold me down. Thankful for the rest of my family too. My extended family, brother, and mom, dad, and all that, stepdad, my stepmom, all that. I'm very thankful for my brothers and friends and everybody that supports me. Thankful for the gym. I'm thankful for Duke and Kush and Chris, and I got a lot to be thankful for. I'm a blessed man. I I don't have much to say that I'm not thankful for, to be honest.
That's great, man. And before you head out, is there anything you want to plug? Any social media, any sponsors? Floor is yours.
Yeah, follow me at Nasty Nate MMA. That's on X or Twitter. I'm not on there often. I want to get on there more actively, but Instagram, Nasty Nate MMA. And so, yeah, follow me on any of those sites or, yeah, whatever apps, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Shout out to some of my local sponsors, Greenhouse, Raw Dog, Greasy Spoon. I've got some people that ride behind me, and I'm super excited about that. Weiss Brothers. I got a lot of people that really ride out for me. Better Life Chiropractic and Health, and yeah, sorry, Better Life Chiropractic and Wellness. Just behind me, Healthy Living Acupuncture. I've got a lot of people that help me out. So shout out to them and much love.
Awesome, man. Nate, thank you for coming on. I wish you the best luck in your fight. Folks, that'll be all for today. Until next time.